Tomorrow's a pretty exciting day. My little grandson, Cadell, and his mate Otto are coming down to Gravelly Beach, and we're going to take them for a sail. What an amazing place this is on the river. It's called Gravelly Beach, and it's where Sarah Ann was probably originally launched by John back in about 1969. I've got the place pretty much to myself tonight because it's a bit on the cool side and it's been a very breezy day, so I think that probably kept the fishermen away. We had our early summer last week. We had 2 or 3 days in succession that were about 30 degrees or so. Over there on the shoreline behind me is the Gravelly Beach Marine, which has been there for over 100 years, I suppose, maybe longer. So a lot of wooden boats were built there, and they're still maintained right up to the present day. What a beautiful, calm evening that's descended. It really blew its guts out all day today, and I was punching into it all the way up the river. Sarah Ann is just nestled in there to the pontoon, not even moving at all, hardly. Well, no, yes she is. She's bobbing up and down a little bit. There's a bit of a swell must still be coming down the river. There's Mount Arthur. Not really a mountain, there's more of a hill. They say that they can't tax the wind, nor can they tax the tide that carried us down here today and punched into a very substantial wind. I'm woken by the avian cacophony of first light. What did you like best about sailing?
Steering. Yes, steering.
Did you get a bit scared when it was leaning over?
Well, at first.
So who's the best sailor, Cadell or Otto?
Me.
I'll give you a bit of a rundown on how today went. So this is day 2 of a 3-day venture up, down the Tamar River estuary. I got up really early, just at first light, and had a very enjoyable session doing some first light photography. I had the boat already rigged and ready to go, and I was being meticulous about the detail because I wanted it to be a good experience for the boys. And we had a very nice breeze. It was probably dropping to about 5 knots at time, but most of the times it was around about 10, and it was gusting up to about 20. And the boys were able to use the skills that they learnt in the backyard. They picked up very quickly, and it wasn't very long. I got to the other side of the river and then went to go about, and she just wouldn't go about it. We're just in irons and couldn't seem to get it out of irons. And then after a while it worked out that we were actually aground. So the centreboard was in the mud. And so then we tacked backwards, back and forth, and the wind swung around to the west and strengthened, and the boys just had a ball. And I got my fishing rod out, gave the boys a chance to do a bit of shore fishing, and we just had a bit of a snack sitting up there overlooking the river. I spent the afternoon after they all departed watching some sailing videos and snoozing and just resting there. And then the wind started to pick up, got up to about 25, 27 knots, I think, strong gusts at times. I'm just sort of getting used to living on board and handling Sarah Ann in all sorts of different situations and conditions. So I headed off. There's a whole lot of moorings there at Gravelly Beach. It's probably about 10 or 15 yachts of various sizes that are tied up there. So I headed across and found a spot where I could anchor right in the middle of all that, and the wind really did get up, and at times, you know, it was quite strong. I had all sorts of fancy plans for things that I was going to achieve, but I just needed the rest. So I did. I rested, and it was great. So now it's time for me to prepare something for dinner. I've just sort of been snacking all day, and I'm not set up to cook anything. I've just brought essentially cans of tuna and dry biscuits and a bit of bread. So I'm going to make myself a salami sandwich now for dinner, and then make preparations to hunker down for the night. So I've tested the anchor. Overnight we could get gusts up to 20, so it's already been holding in sort of 25 to 30 knots. And tomorrow the forecast is for the wind's going to really rip through. So I have to make a choice about whether I decide to motor or sail. I'm not worried about the sea state, because obviously we're on an estuary in the river, but the wind is going to be in the order of 25, gusting up to 30 knots. And sometimes those gusts can be even stronger than that. So it's going to be from the west, and I've just noticed that there's been a sudden drop in the temperature, and so it's time to start layering up for the evening. So this is certainly not going to be an elaborate cooking show here. Got a couple of bread rolls. This is really basic stuff. And I've got some cheese. And I've got some salami. I ate all my avocado last night, so that's a pity. Still got a few cans of tuna and stuff there. What have I got here? Chunky dip, fresh basil with cashews and plums. That'll do. Spice it up a little bit. And that's it. That's the main course. Now, when you're in a small boat all day long, you need to be able to rest, and I've been doing my fair share of that today. One of the most difficult things is it's very hard to find some way of getting comfortable. I mean, really comfortable, like you're in a lounge chair. This is what I've got. So I've got my bedroll there that sort of fills in here, because lumbar support is often very lacking in boats like this. That provides nice lumbar support. Because the way the centre case sits nice and low, I can put my feet across like this, and I can tell you that is as comfortable as I would have at home. So in the absence of my evening glass of Shiraz, I turned to Mark Knopfler. Remember growing up, I'm not sure that I ever saw a mango. On that note, I'm going back to watching Mark Knopfler. I can't take you with me, because if I did, I'd get a copyright strike. Ended up motor sailing. We were doing under 2 knots against the tide. If the wind picks up a bit, we might be able to shut that down. But with the motor just idling along, we're doing it about 4 knots. .25 knots has come in, and we've still got the motor running. So as I approached Lagana, the wind just got stronger and stronger. It doesn't look much when you're filming it because the water's dead flat because you're on an estuary, but it was well and truly 30 knots plus, and eventually I had to let the headsail go. I was quite concerned that I was going to end up blowing out a sail. So the channel is quite narrow most of the way down the Tamar River, and you end up on the mudflats either side. So I've got a bungee cord stretched across to keep her on track a bit, but how do you get forward and tidy all that up when you're risking broaching? I had to let that headsail go all of a sudden. That's about 30 knots. This is where the fresh water from the highland lakes comes down and mixes with the salt water of the Tamar River estuary. This creates a very diverse amount of bird life and even some amazing fishing just in the tail race itself. It looks like it's all been underwater, doesn't it? In the days of the clippers, the Tamar River estuary at the confluence of the North-Esk and South-Esk rivers was a very busy commercial port. The main commercial activity these days is the synchro lift that services some of the ferries that operate on Port Phillip Bay. The hillside suburb of Trevellyn is where some of the maritime traders originally built their homes, overlooking the river where they could watch their assets sail up and down, back and forth on their way from England. In more recent years, tourism developments have meant changing silos into motels. Where rows of square riggers would have been lined up along the quayside near Customs House, it's now been converted into a tourist precinct called Launceston Seaport. Here we see Richie's Flour Mill, which is a lovely little development there where you can sit and have a coffee. King's Bridge guards the entrance to the gorge from anything with a mast over about 7 or 8 metres, and that includes me, I think. And I can't go past my favourite marine shop, Tamar Marine. It's been a busy couple of weeks since the last video that I put out. That was the one where I made the promise that I was going to be producing 2 videos a week and be posting one on Christmas Eve. Well, didn't happen. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, some other priorities took over with family, and I've been building this little secret garden out here, which is a place where my wife can come and just relax and do some pruning and some weeding, and it's proven to be a really nice little spot just to come and sit and have a quiet cup of coffee and gaze down the river. So Sarah Ann's sitting there and she's absolutely begging me to take her out again somewhere, and I'm thinking what will be next. The weather's just been amazing, and once the main part of the summer holidays are over and the school kids are back, it means that there are fewer people on the roads and fewer people at all the popular places. So I'm dreaming up what's going to be next. If you can think of a place in Tassie that you'd love to see featured on this channel, well, just let me know. These videos do take a lot of effort, and I enjoy doing them, but it's nice to get feedback. So I'd really appreciate comments, suggestions, and if you let me know what you're interested in, I can see how I can weave that into my program over the coming months. Coming up in February, I'm going down to the Kettering Woodenboat Festival, which is on every alternate year in between the Australian Woodenboat Festival. That's sure to be a great time, and we'll be able to see some amazing Tasmanian woodenboat heritage down there and meet some of the characters that you may well be familiar with if you've been watching them on YouTube. So thanks for watching. If you've come this far, really appreciate you subscribing and liking the video, and even check out my Patreon page. So now the major restoration part of Sarah Ann is behind me, and it's pretty much maintenance, and then I'll move into a couple of major things over the winter, which will be rebuilding of the centre case, and I've got to do some more work sealing the decks. Who knows, next time that we connect, I might be coming to you from somewhere on the east coast of Tasmania, because that's probably the best place to go at this time of year.